The night has come, it's cold and losing my control. Your light is gone, and lonely darkness fill my soul. I wish that you could save me from my isolation. It's way too complicated. Let's start this conversation. Let's start this conversation. We got no relation.
Good evening, and if you're just tuning in, you are listening live to UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network, and this is the Angel Rock. Hang on, guys, we're going to play around with TikTok. I'm almost there. Let's see. There we go. And like I said, UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network. You may see my crazy dog. She's not usually allowed on the bed, but it decided to have a massive thunderstorm 10 minutes before we went live, and she hates thunder. I'm your host, Lorilei Potvin, and this is the Angel Rock. You can also listen to our network on 105.3 in the Gulf Coast and in Mississippi, and 107.7 FM out of the beautiful city of New Orleans. A little bit about myself. I am a Canadian psychic medium, crystal Reiki energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner, spiritual teacher, and mentor. I'm also a registered nurse. Julie's here, so I have to say I am. Julie Jean Bassett, I saw her here. I always say budding animal communicator, and Shelly says, no, you're not. You're an animal communicator. I'm also well-versed in near-death experiences, having studied them professionally and personally for over 40 years, as well as I believe I had one as a toddler. And lastly, extremely well-versed in the paranormal. I always say didn't go looking for it. It found me. And we shared a little bit of our story on the Travel Channel's Paranormal Survivor, Season 4, Episode 9. I did not name it. It's called Demonic Hauntings. And if you do check it out, you can find it on YouTube, all over the place. I think it's on Netflix and a bunch of places. You're going to see a familiar face in there. I did not know her at the time, but I've since gotten to know her very well, and it's our own Michelle DeRoche, who has the Outer Realm on Wednesdays and Thursday evenings, and she has Beyond the Outer Realm on Tuesday afternoon. She's also our station manager. So I got my little checklist here. So one thing I do want to say is thank you to Carnation. Carnation sponsors all the live programming here on UPRN on Monday nights. It's called Carnation Monday. So wherever you are in the world, if you're listening to this or watching it, please, if you find something by Carnation, it's a global brand, please consider supporting them, because they support us and bring all the great shows that are coming to you here on this network. Stay tuned 2 hours from now, because it's Preston Dennett and Dolly Saffron. Sorry, major thunderstorm, guys, with the Lake Gate in about 2 hours. So stay tuned after this show. Also, if you guys like what you see, please like, share, and subscribe. Tell all your friends and family. There really is something for everybody on this network. It's been around for over 25 plus years. And we stream multiple shows daily, 7 days a week. And when we're not streaming live, the archive server kicks in over the last 25 plus years of programming. So we are live actually 24/7. And we always have new shows and new hosts coming up. And it's not all just UFO and paranormal. There really is something for everybody here. And the network does stream to every country in the world, believe it or not. 80% of our I'm going to say 80% plus of our audience, when we're live, all they can do is listen. So if you're hearing me, I always say hi before we get into the show and after I read my guest's bio. If you want to watch and you're thinking like, how can I comment? Like, all I can do is hear. So I'm going to rattle it off quickly how you can find where you can join our wonderful audience who participates in the show. You can go to my Facebook profile, as well as my LinkedIn profile and my YouTube channel under Lorilei Potvin, or The Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin. Also on Facebook, we're streaming on UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network's Facebook page, as well as we are streaming on our TikTok by the same name. We are also streaming on the owner of this network. I always like to give him a huge shout out, Joe Montaldo. We're streaming out of his wonderful, beautiful home on the Bayou in New Orleans. And I'm actually streaming on his channel on Rumble, which is under the name of Jojo Mon. And lastly, we're going to try TikTok. We'll see what happens. I think a week or so ago, we were live, but it looked almost like it was buffering. So we shall see. Dog, please settle down. My dog I've been working with her energy, and she's been doing great. But this is one of her big triggers, thunder, for some reason. Lastly, I want to make sure I didn't forget anything here. Well, I forgot one thing. If you guys want to watch us on TV, you can. The network does have its own TV channel, and it's on Roku. And how you find us, you're going to go to the channel store. The search button, I think, is up on the right-hand side, and you're going to type in UFO space P as in paranormal. And there's a drop-down list. We're about the third or fourth one down, and you're looking for UFO, Paranormal, and United Public Radio. And that's how you can find us. Now I need my glasses, so hang tight, guys. I should check and see, are we streaming on TikTok? I know it's working, but oh, it's working tonight, guys. We're not buffering. So everybody on TikTok, thanks, guys. I'm so happy. Yay. So you may recognize this beautiful lady's face. She has been on a few times on the network, and I have some of our fan favorites on a couple times at least a year, and you are quickly becoming one of those, Marzcia. So
thank you.
You are. Marzcia Techau was born in 1971 as a Master of Science in Biology. She's a speaker, author, spiritual teacher, clairvoyant counselor, healer, Reiki master, and somatic experience practitioner, working with Peter Levine's somatic experience method. For the past 20 years, Marzcia has worked with a blend of scientific and spiritual understandings of life. A part of her master thesis was a healing study of plants at the University of Copenhagen. She was later, she worked as a research assistant at a study of energy healing effects on cancer survivors at the University of Southern Denmark. Before I go any further, you know what I'm going to grab? This is another fan favorite of ours. I know since I've known her for years, she has wanted to write this book. This is called Enchanted Plants, A Treasury of Botanical Folklore and Magic by good friend of mine, Barla Ventura. It's amazing. Like, she goes through all kinds of plants, and she talks about the magical and the healing properties and such. It's an awesome book. On a little bit more about your bio, you've worked as a medium, and you've been taking clients for 22 years. In recent years, Marzcia has worked as a teacher of healing and clairvoyance, as a writer, and has been giving talks to a broad audience. In her teachings, her talks, as well as in her book, she emphasizes the relationship between natural sciences and the spiritual world by applying new knowledge and scientific research in her dissemination of healing, human development, and spiritual practice. And I'm going to mention your latest book, unless you cranked one out since the last time I talked to you. It's called Control Your Life, A Guide to Healing and Self-Healing. Welcome, Marzcia.
Thank you very much. That was a very good talk.
Well, you wrote that wonderful. Yes. There are all kinds of people here tonight. So you want to say hi to everybody before we get started?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. And hi, I saw that many of, both Heidi and Zoom Dragon and Soleil. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, I used to go by from the top. So we're going to go from the top.
Yeah, so nice.
Saying hi, Lorilei, and everyone. I always give Julie a shout out. She's my animal communication mentor. I have taken her animal communication course. I know she's running it again at the end of this month. Happy September 1st to everybody. And she also is going to be teaching, I believe, a course on animal chakras. So feel free to put that in the chat, Julie. Also, she's an incredible animal communicator, both Earthside and across the Veil or across the Rainbow Bridge. She's helped me with many of my animals. And I always say, just change them, with working with them and communicating what their needs were. And we all ran into people like that. What it was, my cat was peeing on my son that's now passed away, his bed, with no health issues, no nothing. And it started out of nowhere. We got to the root of the problem, no more problems. So I always recommend her, if you've got a pet that is driving you insane, not even if they're not, maybe they need some healing, or you're trying to figure out, what is my animal trying to tell you, she is your person. You can reach her with the animal communication at juliejeanbassett.com. She also is an incredible shamanic practitioner. I had a life-changing session with her, And you can certainly check out her website. She has that under greattailshamanichealing.com. We also have Z-Sun Dragon saying, hi, Lorilei, and hi to everyone. I call him by his muggle name, I say, from Harry Potter, Kevin. We've got Vet Girl 84 saying hi to everybody. Heidi Gall is here. She says, hello, Lorilei and Marzcia. Much love from Boulder, Colorado. Let's see. You're going to have to help me with this name, girl, because I'm sorry.
It's Soleil, so it's one of my students. So.
I love it. So she says, you guys have made my day by being live at this very night. I have had the longest, most exhausting trip from this tiny, very isolated, sorry, I got to get it in the right spot, very isolated town and back to Denmark. It's took me 14 hours. Wow. She said, came back to my apartment at 2300 hours, and then I saw on Facebook that you guys decided to make my day and my night by being live. Well, we're glad you can hear. She says her nervous system is ready. Then we've got Joe Fox saying hello, and he says he loves UPRN. Well, UPRN loves you. All of us. And then we've got Tristan Jacobson saying namaste, dear soul fam. And then we got Mish. I talked to Mish earlier today already, so I always love to tease lovingly Mish. Because she's in Australia, and it's Tuesday morning already over there. So let's see. I'll unhighlight that. Give me a sec, guys. Okay, Julie, I'll highlight this right now. So the Beginner Animal Communication Workshop is on September 20th and 21st, and still under development, animal chakras and healing through the medicine wheel. The reason why I always read these too, because there's so many people that are just listening, so they can't see what we're doing. So let's see. Yeah, so they can hear too. Everybody's saying hi to one that settled down there, cool girl. I'll just check in on TikTok. I said, welcome, everyone. Michelle Wilfong is my moderator over on TikTok. That was yesterday for you, Mish. That was this morning for me. I said to you, I know you're going to bed. I'll see you in a couple hours. So it's all the same day for me today, Mish. There she is. I was just talking about her, Michelle Wilfong. So she's my mod on TikTok. We're on TikTok tonight, Mish. If you want to head there, great. If you don't, that's okay too. She is an incredible mod. She manages things so beautifully over there. She also lives in a haunted apartment, and she has a TikTok channel called My Haunted Apartment on TikTok. I highly recommend checking it out. She definitely picks up some incredible things on her cameras in that place, I'm telling you. So I just saw, there went the power. I'm warning you guys, if the power goes, I have my phone. It's fully charged. I believe it is pretty well. I'll make it through. I will be right back. I've already warned Marzcia because this storm came out of nowhere. Oh, Joe says, my little Yorkie is very old and I do not want him to go. My life will not be the same ever. I love him. You know what? That must be a topic I was saying to you before we went live. I belong to a lot of different YouTube channels, and his name is Duty Ron. I highly recommend checking it out. They were two New York police detectives. They were big part of 9/11 as the rescuers. They've actually, both of them, him and Ed Wallace, who is a forensic detective, and they do cover true crime, but they explain it from a police officer's perspective as well, as it's very victim-centered. Well, poor Ron, he just lost his beloved dog, Oscar, about 4 months ago. Then he had an African gray parrot named Popeye that he had for almost 40 years, and he just passed away. And he was talking to us about, he says, it sounds almost like depression with the grief he's suffering, and he's having a hard time even processing, why am I having so much grief? But he had him since he was 24, and he said, I'm going to be 61. So I could certainly understand why. Thank you for sharing that too, Joe, about your little Yorkie. I do have to give Miss Carrie Lynn Shellhorn a huge shout out. She is one of my closest friends, on top of she is a host here on UPRN of her own show, Spirit Switchboard, on Fridays, 6 p.m. Eastern. I highly recommend, if you didn't, to watch her show. Well, I always watch her show, but on last Friday, she had her mom on with Azria Beckham, who has been on here as well. And Azria actually, I don't want to say channels, if you will, what your DNA connects to with off-world beings. And they're doing generational Last Friday, this Friday, I believe, with her sister and her niece. Correct me if I'm wrong, Carrie Lynn. And then next week, they're going to talk the following Friday about what does this all mean. So she also, her and I should have said that at the beginning, we have a show together on Thursday night called Beneath the Hollow Moon, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And because we're getting close to the full moon, we're going to be talking all about werewolves. Anyways, sorry about that, Marzcia. It's a long intro tonight.
It's so nice. It's so nice just to be here.
Oh, well, we're glad to have you here. You're quickly becoming a fan favorite, and you're such an every time you come on here, the 2 hours just fly right by. I am going to address this show, Fox. Depression is very real and a terrible adversity. And I don't talk about it often, but I have mentioned it. My youngest son, who would have been 27 March 14th, but with no disrespect, was very much like that precocious age of a 5 to 8 year old. And he had severe autism, and he passed away actually in my arms in this room, very unexpectedly with pneumonia, January 15th, 25. So I can certainly understand that, but also got some great advice from Spirit about how to deal with it. I don't know, how do you work with your clients? I know we're going to talk about some different things today, but since it's come up in the chat, how do you work with your clients that are grieving and maybe having a hard time or in a state of depression or things like that, Marzcia?
It's first, it's connecting them with the healing energy. And thank you for all the talking, and thank you and hello to everybody. And it's so nice to be back. But working with depression, often it's connecting with the healing energy first, and then actually investigating where's the depression coming from. Because sometimes there is old traumas that have been lying there for many, many years, and suddenly they pop up, or there's too many layers of heavy thoughts or emotional distress, and you have to heal that. You have to find out where it comes from, connection with healing. If it's a sorrow because of a loss, it could be from an animal, a dog or a parent or somewhere else, and when you can connect with them from the other side and start to make a connection between the living and the loved ones on the other side, there's also a big healing process there that can release some of the sadness and the depression. And if it's because a person has been working too much and actually is low in emotional energy, then you have to find out how can we raise the emotional energy, because you cannot get physical energy if you emotionally is really depressed. So we have to find out what's the reason, and then slowly help them. So healing and talking, and if it's important, sometimes physical exercises can help as well. And then I use that a little. So it's like, using the contact to the spirit world, the healing, talking to the client. And many times it's actually emotional distress that has roots earlier on in their lives. And we have to work with those issues, and then slowly the depression can be better.
Because I worked in as well. I've worked in death and dying my entire adult life, having worked in nurse. And before I hurt my back years ago, that was the biggest passion of working out in the community, was helping those and the families too of somebody, say, that was terminally diagnosed. I always say, leave this planet with dignity, feel loved and supported, comfortable as they transition back home. But the other thing I'm going to add, I took my degree in nursing, and I remember the psychology courses that we took. One of them was The 5 Stages of Death and Dying by Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. And I've always said it should be the 5 stages of loss, because as human beings, we do go through 5 stages and layers of it. For example, my birthday was August 15th, so I turned the big 60, and I'd had a dream from my son.
Nice.
No, but it was a lucid dream, like it compared to just a usual dream, because he walked out of his bedroom like he normally would have done, and he walked into my room and started talking to me, and I went, honey, what are you doing here? I don't think you're supposed to be here. And I shocked myself. I woke myself up in the dream, and I'm not much of a crier, but I woke up crying, and I had a really difficult time for the last couple weeks. And it kind of coincided with my birthday. And then I realized for me, and it had been 7 months since he'd passed, and I realized I think I've been in a state of, I said almost shock, but it's almost like it's not really denial and not disbelief, but somewhere in between there. And now I think I'm kind of in this stage of just sadness. I wouldn't say depression, but sadness. And I'm going to share this, and I've said it a few times on this show. The first couple days after he passed away, I remember saying to Spirit, I hate the way I'm feeling. I don't like this feeling. It's very foreign to me. And I've had loved ones pass away. I've been around death and dying, but this was my child. And the advice I got was, the only way through it is to feel every single emotion and process it, feel it. The other thing was to give yourself the grace and to hold the space, even if you have to for yourself, that you would give to someone else. So if you're having a bad day, you're having a bad day, and that's okay. Tomorrow's a we start over. And if we're stuck in that, right, then again, sometimes we come to people like you and I. It could be a medical professional or whom. But when we really get stuck in that and we're not progressing, that's when sometimes that's where the responsibility, I think, falls on ourselves to look at that and think, maybe I need a little help. But grief has no timetable either, right?
No, it's like you have to digest the emotions, you have to digest the shock, the sorrow, the loss, and come out on the other side. And it takes time, and it's different how long time it takes. In Denmark, it's so normal that if you have sorrow or something that's really shocking or trauma for you, when you go to the doctor, you get antidepressive medication, and it wouldn't actually help you in the process of digesting and growing again. So you have to give yourself time, as you say, to be with what's there. And of course you can get help with antidepressive. It's okay if it helps you, but it will not help you to come through it if you don't somehow embrace the feelings. And also the loss is also an expression of love, all the love that you have had. And somehow when you're through the loss, the love will come back in another form. You know, it's
our loved ones never leave us. And then I've had people say, well, does that mean that they're not in heaven or wherever you believe a soul goes to when it leaves here? No, it's just we're not limited by a physical body anymore.
No, not at all.
The humanness that we chose in this lifetime. So you could be in a gazillion different places at once. And I always tell loved ones or people, your loved one, of course, all of us would prefer to have them in physical form. But they're here. They hear you.
Yeah.
They know what's coming for you. I believe they become part of your team, whether that could be a pet or it could be your loved one. Like I know my son is on my team, and he made it very obvious in the beginning he was around here.
Yeah.
It wasn't just me. Neighbors that knew him well, friends that knew him, you know, they'd message me and say, first, I hope I don't upset you. And I'd say, no, not at all. And then they'd share things. For example, my neighbor next door, her 9-year-old and my son were very close, both under the autism spectrum, but her son was very high functioning. And she was taking her Christmas tree down late. And she said, I knew Justin loved Christmas. And she said, so I was taking the ornaments off the tree and I could see the little skirt around the tree. There was nothing underneath. And she said, I turned my back and I came back, and there sitting right in the middle of the skirt was, I think she said, a dime. And she had asked me, that's how the conversation began, can loved ones or people who have passed on leave you signs like that? And she said there was no other way that money got there. Like it was so obvious. And it's just a matter of looking, right?
Yes.
They're around us. They'll let us know. Mm-hmm.
They are really trying to express that they are all right on the other side. So in that way, it's so important that we look for the signs, but also the dreams that you talk about, the dreams. It's normal that they come entering the dream state, because there you have, when you let go of your normal consciousness and went into this place where you actually have the possibility to be joined with the other side, because you're connected more with your soul, and your soul is connected to the divine, and in the divine, the loved ones are when they are on the other side. And then the access is quite close. There is no difference there. There's no obstacles. You can communicate there. So they come in dreams, but they are also present in our everyday lives. So it could also, many times people can feel the presence of their pets, the dog or the cat, and it's because they're there. They are lying in the bed, or they are just coming around your legs. It's so often that they're there just to calm down your nervous system. So when you are open to sense the spirit world, then actually your world is opening up for all the love that have been with you in your everyday life, and it will always be with you. So in that way, it's a place where you can, when you enter this sensitivity to sense the spirit world, you will never feel alone, but you will also feel that your loved ones are actually thriving very good on the other side. And often they have much more contact to the whole soul power, so they can also be with you in a much stronger way, because they are really themselves. They are not the patterns, they are not the hurts, they are not all the other things that keeps them a little locked in the physical body. They are pure soul with all the power, all the love, and all the clarity. And it's a big joy to sense them that way, and to know that they're there. And they
I've told this story many times on this show. And there was somebody, this was years ago in my old house, and I was talking to them. She pops in every now and then. Her name is Debbie Grassberger Schmoley, and she's okay if I mention her name. She's told me that. And I happened to be talking to her. I think it was Facebook Messenger Live or Skype or something. And she was laying back in her bed. And my house was very haunted, the previous one I was in. So we were talking about something that had happened. And I said to her, did you used to have a cat that laid on the pillow beside you? And she said, oh, yes, that was my Boo, or what she called the cat. And she said, she passed away, I think she said about 1.5 years ago. I said, I didn't know you had a cat. I can see a cat. Through the cat, I can see the cat. The cat was grooming itself, and she said the name. It turned its head. It was take a picture, take a picture, take a picture. So I did, and to me, it really didn't look like a lot, but she could pick it out. Plus, her previous cat was behind Boo.
And super.
This year, it came up as a memory on Facebook from many years ago, because I had gotten rid of the device that had the pictures on. And she sent it to me, and I thought, how cool, because I said, Debbie, I've told this story many, many times, and they are around. Even when he was alive, his other cat had passed away, and they were so close, passed away very unexpectedly. That night, our bedroom happened to be in the basement in the old house, and Justin and I were walking through the door, and the cat's name was Mocha, and we both heard Mocha meow. And Mocha used to go to bed at night with him. I'd tuck him in, and she would go and plop down on the bed. For the longest time, I'd be tucking him in, and you would see almost the physical indentation and feel her pop on the bed. Right?
Yes.
So they are with us. They
definitely are. Yeah. So and also sometimes they are reborn again. And even though they're reborn, you can also connect with the soul, because the soul you can connect with the soul even though they're reborn again. I had an Irish wolf dog, and really. So that's why I was laughing a little about you saying, "Oh, it's a very big German Shepherd in my bed," and I'm like, okay, but my English wolf dog. He was
Um,
he was in my bed as well, so no problem. It's like you're just lying like this, and the dog is like the whole bed. So sorry, but
it's okay. Everybody loves animals here. I have a cat. She's over there, and everybody knows who she is because usually I'll see if she does it tonight. But she usually comes over and she acts real cute.
Yeah, so yeah, well,
Yes.
he died somehow. Those big dogs normally he was only 6.5 years, so and he was sick with cancer, and in Denmark I was lying with him on a blanket the whole night, and then the vet was coming and we were having a grill party, and he was Shannon, he was getting a steak and then a little more steak, and then the vet was coming and giving him his injections, and he was sleeping and then dying, and we were a lot of the loved ones around him. He somehow, this dog managed to walk into people's heart, and they just, he was like a friend to many people. So we were a lot of people there, and then my dad has been making a big hole in the ground. We buried him, and I was making a ceremony where I just said, thank you very much for being here for us. And then I saw a little puppy running away. I was like, what happened? So it was like he was so ready to be born again. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay. And then 1 year later, I was sitting on a beach in Denmark. And actually, I have just talked to my spawns about Shannon and how I missed him. And then suddenly I was seeing a young Irish wolf dog walking on the beach, at the beach with a young boy, just a teenage boy. And he had exactly the same marking. He was a gray dog, but he has a white marking, just looking like grilled chicken, actually. So he had the same drawing, and this dog was coming, and I was just raising up, running to the dog, and he was placing his head exactly as my old dog would have done on my stomach, and just, let me hug him like that. And this boy, he was just, what happens? And he was a German boy, so I had to talk to him and try to explain to him that I knew this dog, and it was clearly that this dog knew me. And I said I was so happy that my dog has got this young boy that he could take care of, because he was such a lovely boy, such a lovely dog. Yeah. And that way I had also this feeling of calmness. I still sense him sometimes, but I know that he's coming back to earth to make a difference again for a sensitive young soul that needs his help and support. And I was just crying of happiness and just longing, and still happiness, and just, the world is amazing and magic. And so they also reincarnate. And
so let's talk about that, because I said if we had time we can talk a wee bit about NDEs, and you were really open to it, but I had asked you what you wanted to talk about, and I said it almost builds off of the guest that we had the week before, Steve Burgess. He was on. He does hypnotherapy, but he mainly does a lot of past life work and with ancestors and stuff. And it was interesting. Can you explain a little bit about what you wanted to talk about? Because I think that's important.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's what I really there's many things today. It's the heavenly birthday of my Hawaiian teacher Sean Kihei. Oh. And so he died 2 years ago, and I got a lot of teachings from him when I went to Maui a lot of times to get the teachings. And he talked very much about how important our family and our lineage is, and how we are the crown jewel of the lineage. And I have been working very much by healing the traumas from transferred through generations from our ancestors to us. And when you're ready to heal those traumas today, you can actually ask for help from the ancestors, and they're really, really ready to help you. They can take responsibility for their own traumas, so that it can release the lineage and you at the same time. So it's really strong. They really want you to succeed because you are the future. But what I also find interesting is that I know from studies with Michael Newton and also Jim Tucker's work that many of our family members, that we are born into the same family. Our soul has some souls that we are connected with all the time in different ways. So Michael Newton works with past lives in one way, and Jim Tucker works with like investigating children that has past life stories, very intense. And what I thought about with that is, if we come back to the same line of souls and the same family, then our soul has been incarnated within our lineage many times. Mm-hmm. So that means that actually my soul has a lot of memory of being some of my ancestors. Mm-hmm. And when we look at it in that way, so right now I call it cross lives. I mentioned it in my book as well. A cross lives. You have a life where you are both DNA, your genes are connected with your lineage, and your soul is connected with this incarnation. So it's like a cross. The soul and your genes are connected. Mm-hmm. And you have many of those crosses within your lineage throughout the thousands of years. So that means that your soul has prepared your body and your genes for this life, exactly this life you are in right now. So when your soul connects to your cells and your genes now, there is a remembering, there is a connection from now to the past lives. So when your soul and genes are very well connected, that means that your ancestors on this past cross lives have had a very good connection to their soul, to living according with their soul, using the soul properties, their skills, their abilities. Many times we are not that well connected with our soul because we have a lot of emotions from others, we have a lot of trauma, we have a lot of things that makes it difficult for us to connect with our soul, our core. We are more living according to trauma and how the society wants us to be, and not really connecting to our inner state of soul essence. But when you connect to your soul and the genes that remembers your soul, then you have a much easier access to live according to your soul, use your abilities, and help the soul to be present here on earth much easier. And I find that very interesting, that we have in our past, in our ancestors, our own soul that have prepared us to be right now within this body. Our body and our soul are designed to be together. And the more we accept that, the more we can live in harmony with our divine soul, our body, and have a life that much more illuminate from our soul instead of our patterns. And I think that's very important to understand, that we have that possibility. It's there.
And I have so many questions. So first of all, what I'll say is I had this conversation with a client about a month ago, and it was always have fascinating conversations with. She's one of my most regular clients, and I was saying that you aren't your exact soul, that when you incarnate into this lifetime, we'll take myself. So I've incarnated as Lorilei, right?
Yes.
But I said, so you've agreed to take this person on, what I'm going to be doing, the roles, we have free will thrown in, there's karma, there's a whole bunch of things. And the person had asked me, they said, well, then I'm not my soul. And I said, well, no, your soul rests within you. You are your soul. And
yes.
I said, but you're here also to experience a human existence on this planet in the role of, we'll use my name, Lorilei. But I said, I truly believe in what Spirit has given me. Does that mean we can never be in touch with our soul? No, we certainly can be in touch with our soul. And I believe when we are, is when we are coming from a place of pure love, right? Unconditional love. When we are in service to others, we are doing things from a pure, positive place of love. That is who your soul is. That's where you connect. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah. I think is that we actually, our soul is of course pure love, but it's also this pureness somehow. It could be pure thought, it could be pure actions, it could be connecting with creativity, music, art. It could also be, if you really have skills for math, it could be working with math in this really amazing way. So what I mostly think is when we are connected with what we really have within us, we feel content, happy, and we feel that life has meaning. And for some, it's not the love part because they are not here for the love in that way. Of course, everybody's here for love, but it could also be that their calling is something other than compassion. That it could be because they're really good at thinking, calculating. It could be everything. But of course, our soul is, for me, it's like a light of love and clarity. It's wisdom. It's knowledge. It's the capacity. It's a life force. So when we are connected more with our soul, we are also connected with the life force, and our body is what I love to mention Bruce Lipton in this. Bruce Lipton talks about, as a cell biologist, now I'm a biologist myself, and I really find it interesting that what's surrounding our cells is actually also affecting the cells and which genes that they express, which gene is expressed. So when our cells are connected with our soul, that you are connected more with your soul instead of your nervous system is locked in anything, in the surroundings or in traumas and everything. If your cells or nervous system is connected to your soul, then the nervous system says to the rest of the body, okay, it's safe, I'm myself, I'm home. And think about, if your cells are lying within the divine part of your soul, then you have the life energy, you have access to your possibilities to express yourself, your skills, your abilities, your resources, your capacity. Everything is within your soul. So when you're more connected to your soul, this energy supports your cells, your muscles, your everyday life. And you can much easier express yourself from that point, from that place within yourself where you have inner peace, where you're in balance, when you're home. And of course, it's love, a lot of love. But you also have a lot of other possibilities and skills. So I actually think that when we live more in contact with our soul, it's like you are your soul.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Instead of, you think, maybe sometimes when we work with patterns and negative thoughts and beliefs, it's not our soul. It's something that inhibits our access to our soul. Mm-hmm. So when we heal that, or we develop ourselves and we get insight, we get more in contact with our soul. So we will illuminate or radiate out from our soul core instead of the trauma. And that will affect everything around us. So I actually think that in that way, we help raise the energy level, the humankind level. The more we are connected with our soul, and the soul is connected with earth and the living world, the more the life energy and the divine will affect the living world in a positive way. So I know I'm Marzcia, but I also know that the experiences that I have in this life will enrich my soul. Mm-hmm. So my soul is here for expression, learning, giving, sharing, experiencing, everything like that. And that's a part of my soul's development, but it's also a part of Marzcia, my human body and mind development. So there's this togetherness.
It sounds like it's almost like when all these things align, right? Then everything kind of falls into place, if you will.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's.
But I'm getting, I don't know if you are or not, but I seem to encounter a lot of people. And I have to share this. I was listening, I'm working with my dog, not using words, using energy with training, and it's really made a lot of sense. It's taken years for me to understand this. Have you heard of Cesar Millan before? The dog whisperer. Everybody's heard of this guy, I'm sure. He's had many TV shows. The one thing, my one criticism of Cesar has always been, because he talks about dog psychology and energy principles, and he looks like a miracle worker when he does what he does, because it is miraculous, but he doesn't quite explain like how somebody could do this for themselves. And so I've been watching this as of late, and I've been realizing, I call it my stupid pet trick, and I've done it many times on here. Pull out my pendulum, hold it, and I can tell you exactly what it's going to do. Yeah, now it's going to spin circles. Yeah, now it's going to stop. Now, and I just realized that once we make that connection with our brain to energy,
yes,
can project it, right? So that's been working very well with my dog. But he said something on a show recently that really made a lot of sense. And what he said is, the words you speak build the house you live in. And I thought, well, in a way, it kind of goes along with what you're talking about, right? And as well as I'm running into clients, a lot of people that are recognizing there's more to what they thought life was about, or maybe their purposes, or what all these things are. And that's the big question, I think, is what do I do, meaning anybody, to make this alignment, if you will, because I think that it almost sounds like it's harmonious with your soul, with your your genes, if you will, the emotional state. And we're basically living in a space of joy, because if we're doing something that we love.
Yeah.
That was the other thing from Spirit, just reminded me, thank you, when my son passed away, was find little moments of joy.
Yeah,
no matter how they are, little, even if you can't muster joy all day long, little moments of joy. And I have to say that was a huge thing. Now, am I way off base with what I'm sharing with you? Because it almost sounds like when it's all in mind, body, soul is all in harmony, including, if you will, your life purpose, the whole bit, right? I think that that's when it really leads to a fulfilling life. But what's the answer to that? How do people find that?
It's you have your own unique way to that. So what I normally say, you actually highlighted a little here. It's very important to find out what makes you happy.
Yes.
Those small amount of happiness, because in this world I have to be recognized. I have to do something to, it should be hard work to make this recognition and respectable things. But with the spirit world and your soul,
it has to come from within, not from.
So it's like when we work with spirit and we work with our soul, it's more like when you do things that makes you happy. That's the answer. What you're good at and makes you feel like you belong or feel like it's meaningful. That's your answer. Go with that, because that will bring more of that. More happiness, more meaningfulness, more helping people or doing what you really are here to do. That makes this content feeling, this happy feeling, this feeling of being safe, the feeling of being the right place at the right time. So it's not about doing something to be, honored or recognized. It's more like doing what you have within inside yourself, and actually really also sense how important it is that you do it, because it's a part of your soul, it's a part of your way. And then you can start to find out, okay, why don't you do what you really love to do? So which patterns, which traumas, which people have told you that you should not do that? No, don't sing. No, you should not sing. You should go, and then suddenly don't sing anymore. And it's a part of your life force. It's a part of your soul's happiness. And when you stop doing it, you don't nurture your soul anymore. And then you get more and more disconnected. So the thing is to find out, where did you disconnect? Was it already when you were in your mother's womb? Or was it something in school? Or was it something in another part of your life? So start to investigate. When you are peaceful, when you are happy, when you're just doing something with joy, soul, we are connected to a soul all the time. And the spirit world always try to give you the help to be more joyful, to be more connected somehow.
That was the big piece. I knew there was another piece. Like I said, it was the advice I shared at the beginning about my son. And the other piece was take anything that will give you moments of joy. And it really does help, regardless of whether you are grieving, whether you are ill, whether you are depressed, whether you are sad. Now, I will say, I have never experienced depression at the level of someone very close to me that has suffered with depression, what that feels like, right? And then I don't know if it can almost be, it almost feels, and what I'm hearing from spirit, sometimes that can be a generational thing, right? You know, it can pass along the genes with the depression as well.
Oh, so, yes, it does. It does. It's really, there is science that shows that if you have depression or if you have suicide in the family, in the lineage, you are more, it's more within those genes that express those emotions are more present within you. So you have to do the healing work. And that what again brings us to the point from before. You can ask for help from your ancestors to help you with that, because they are on the other side now, and they can actually heal much better the feelings that they couldn't digest or heal when they were here. They can do it when they're on the other side, and they can help you. So you are not a victim from the depression or the heavy thoughts from your lineage. You can actually, you are the part that breaks that social transferred problem. You can do that.
The other thing that Spirit gave a close friend of mine, I get together with a couple ladies from around the world, and we work with Spirit, and we're not unique. There's hundreds of thousands of people doing this type of thing. So, you know, a Spirit asks us to work on, say, meditating on healing or whatever, right? Well, yeah. There was just the two of us once that met. This was last year. And we kept asking, why are you asking us? And they seemed to talk in riddles with who we work with on the other side. And it just happened to just come through clear as a bell. We know how to do this because we've done it before.
Yes.
Tapping into your ancestors, if you will.
Exactly.
Because there is no time on the other side, but tapping into that consciousness, that universal consciousness, plus we've done it before. So tapping into that energy to come back with it and trust and know that it will come. And you not get it right now, but it will come. Ask and it will come. Be open to it.
Mm-hmm. It's like we have in our lineage, we have the wisdom. In our soul, we have the wisdom. Mm-hmm. And that's why we have to really cherish what we have with us from our lineage and from our soul, and go with that really worked, and heal up what didn't work and what don't work right now, because we have a new development of humankind. Mm-hmm. And it's time to make the change, not go in the old things, but use what's good from the old ways and transform it into a new way of being humankind.
I love that. I'm going to we're supposed to do our station ID at the top of the hour, but I always get into, every time I have you on, it's like it just flies by.
Oh no, we already have, that's nearly an hour we have used.
and went,
Oh,
wow.
no, we're not even halfway from all our different things.
Know.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yes, it's okay. So if you guys are just tuning in, you're listening live to UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network, and this is the Angel Rock. I'm your host, Lorilei Potvin, and I am talking to one of our fan favorites. She's been on here a few times, Marzcia Techau. You're in Denmark now still, aren't you?
Oh, yes, I am. Yes.
I know it's late over there, so thank you for staying up.
Oh, yeah, it's 1 o'clock in the night.
Oh my goodness. You can listen to us on 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast in the US, and also listen to us on 107.7 FM out of the beautiful city of New Orleans, to where we're actually being broadcast to. I'm in Canada, and again, I'm your host, Lorilei Potvin. And if you like what you see, please stay tuned. In another about 40 or so, 50 minutes, Preston Dennett and Dolly Saffron will be up next with The Light Gate. We have numerous programs, several hosts here 7 days a week that stream live. And when we don't, the archive server kicks into the last 25 plus years. It's not all just UFO and paranormal. We like to let people know that. We're always having new shows and new hosts coming in. And we are having this incredible conversation. We started with animals, and now we're talking about the connections between your soul and your lineage and many other good things like that. But I would love to also read some of these comments, if that's okay, Marzcia.
It's okay.
So we got Cindy, I think it's Wagner. Welcome. I seen you pop in. We also have Kirby's 100. Welcome. Thank you for popping in. So Mish, this is really beautiful that you shared. And then we got another great comment. Mish said, my girlfriend's mom, before she passed away, she said something was written on the wall. And that was I'm actually writing a book about what we witness as nurses and first responders. Don't like the title, but death doulas as well. When people transition from their life on this earth, and I call it going back home, because they do witness incredible things, and I do not believe they're hallucinations. So going back to Mish's comment, my girlfriend's mom, before she passed away, she said something was written on the wall. The passing mom read out the words, trust the process. Those words helped my friend. Thank you for sharing, Michelle.
That's very nice.
And then Soli says, more people realize that nature does help us a lot to get in contact with our soul's voice. And when we realize that, and the more time we spend in nature, the more our breathing becomes deeper and slower. And I'm going to add grounded, which makes our spirit filled with joy. The more our soul grows and expands.
It's so right. Right.
I just make sure I haven't. Mish said it's helped her when things get a bit much or not going her way. She says, I trust the process. So how can we go about, because I'm going to use myself as an example. I say I'm an open book on here, especially on my mother's side. There is a long lineage of alcoholism, and it's not pretty. There was a lot of violence. Pretty well, everybody in my mother's family with 6 children all had problems with alcohol. I don't, and my brother doesn't. Most of the kids actually don't. It kind of seemed to stop with my mother and her siblings, but it went up many generations, as well as not just from the father, the mother too. So with that example being kept in mind, and we see this a lot, I've seen it a lot in my life. So how can we help with that? How can we help heal that? How can we make sure even we don't want to go down that path ourselves?
It's again, could be when I normally heal with ancestors in that way, it would be an ancestor issue. So it would be connecting to what I call the pillar of light, which actually also is the same as the near-death tunnel. So it's the dimension with the divine, where you have the access to the divine. Many that have near-death experiences also talk about that they meet the spiritual guides or loved ones on the other side. So when I work with the healing energy, I always connect with this pillar of light or this divine dimension, and then I ask for help from the ancestors that can help with that problem. So it could be that there will come some that had really big problems with alcohol, and they will start to heal what they have somehow had, the imprint they have had made in the genes. So they start to heal that. So the present living one, the that's here right now, can release that heavy thoughts or heavy emotions or heavy energy. It's not theirs. It's really not theirs. So the ancestor helps to heal that. And then there will be some ancestors that somehow manage to not go into alcohol. They manage to have the often alcohol problems, and other problems is that they have there could be emotional problems that's too heavy to digest or work with. But it also could mean that there is a really sensitivity, a lot of empathy, and a lot of power that you cannot use at that time of the culture at that time. So the ancestors have tried to, lock down and then start to drink or start to run away for their life by drinking. So there's often some really, really good human capacities or abilities behind the drinking. So why does the person drink? Maybe it's because they are too emotional to really feel that they can live without the drinking. So what I do when I work with ancestors in this way is that the one that had made the problem comes and help, and the one that actually didn't have the problem comes and help.
Yeah, I like
that. In that way, your client is actually, what's important to understand is also that we have a sensory system that always tries to find out what's the environment that you're connected with, how the other people, we can sense how other people are thinking or their soul and how they're being. So my client use the sensory system. That's a normal thing to sense, that's actually a good ancestor that has a very better way of managing this sensitivity. And then you start to mirror that person's energy or soul. And then my clients start to, okay, it's actually positive. It's a good skill that I have this sensitivity or empath or something else like that.
That's a big one.
Yeah. So in that way, you find out that, okay, there's a lot of people that have been drinking or addicted to something, but it's actually often is it a symptom of something else. So in that way, your ancestors can come and heal the problem, but they could also come with the solution, because the energy within the lineage are being from a heavy one are lightened up. So the soul energy and the skills within the lineage can actually much better reach you as a living person right now. And in that way, they can both help you with the trauma, but they can also help you to really master what could be a problem before, but now it actually is a positive skill. Normally, when I work with sensitivity, people think that it's so hard to feel so much and feel other people, and they're drained, and it's so overwhelming. But when you learn how to master your sensitivity, then you can use it to contact the spirit world. You can use it as a channel for healing work. You can use it as an artist. It's a gift. And that's what's important to understand. Maybe they haven't the possibility or the opportunity to use it as a gift before, but now it's time. And they can help you to use it as a gift instead of running away from it.
So it's changing perspective. I'm going to read this comment. Season Dragon or Kevin says, love Marzcia's insights, having several quote unquote wow moments listening. So, okay, then I'm going to even go deeper with this. I have actually been surrounded in my personal life by people with alcoholism. Yes. My entire life. So for me, I know there is a message in it. Like, I've never had a drinking problem or drug problem or anything like that. And I'm still working on it. But obviously I'm an open book with people on the show. But to me, there has to be a message in it for myself, with the fact that from my personal relationships to familial relationships, it's always been alcoholism. And I always do say this, whether you are an empath, as you mentioned, right? You'll hear people say, oh, it's a curse. It's not really a curse. It's about changing your perspective and learning to manage the sensitivity, as you said. The same thing with anything, right? It's stepping back, saying, I don't want to live this way anymore. Because I have said, any person I have met professionally or personally with drug or alcohol problems, and I'm using that because it is a big thing in this world, depending on where you live. And, you know, not one of them woke up one morning and said, I think I'm going to become a drug addict, or I think I'm going to become an alcoholic. There's usually some sort of pain, I believe, or trauma that they have experienced. Somebody on the outside looking in going, that's what made you an alcoholic? It's not up to us to judge what that pain is. That pain is individual to that person. Most people I have met too, whether recovered or going through it, are very sensitive people. And what they do is, never mind you have the genetic component, which I believe exists. On top of that, for whatever reason, they've tried the substance, and more they get into it. They like the way it makes them feel. Then they start to notice that it numbs all that pain. So
yes, it does.
A lot of sense. Mm-hmm.
And then when they wake up again from that, there is a lot of other disturbing feels like guilt and low self-esteem and everything, and then it makes it even harder. So what
we have to be careful with the word, but SA, I'm sorry, but the more and more we hear about this as we are opening up as a society, it almost sounds like it's an epidemic in various parts of the world, right? Young children having this happen to them, and then how we deal with it, or how we process it, or how we choose to heal from it, right?
Yeah.
It's heavy stuff.
It's really heavy.
So then when you work with a client, I love what you said too about the fact that you call forth the ancestor where this started, if I heard you properly, as well as one that was not affected by it.
Yes.
To come through and work and heal this. Is that?
Yes. What I do is, like, I know that the healing energy, only the ones that are ready to heal will enter. And in that way, some of the ones that are ready to take responsibility, I have worked with contact to as a medium for so many years, and every time there's it could be a father, it could be a mother that have not been a good parent, it could be alcohol, it could be something else, and they come and they come through with so much love, and they say, I'm sorry, I take it back, I'm sorry, I will take all the negative energy that has affected it back with me. It's not yours, it's mine. And then they will replace it with love. And that's what I have been seeing for so many years. And what I do when I work with ancestors, or epigenetic healing, as I call it, then I said, okay, there's this healing light. It's like a path of light. And the one that's ready to heal my client or heal up, they enter this light, this road of light. And then there will be some that could take responsibility for the problems, and some that actually can heal in the other world, on the other side. They can heal each other. But they can only do it because you're alive and ready to make the difference. They cannot do it if they should go down again in an incarnation. They can only do it because, how can I explain? When you are a soul, you are not connected to the physical realm in that way that you can really solve really heavy stuff. You have to enter the physical realm to do that healing of what you left behind last time. So you're here to do better than you were. But what's actually the very good catch here is, when you have a living relative that's ready to heal, it could be from addiction, it could be from depression, it could be different things. Right. When you have this living relative that says, I'm ready, it's so much, now it stops with me, then you say, very good, I will help you, because I don't have to go back and live it all again. I can actually help you now. And then, in that way, you both do yourself a really big favor, but you also heal up the lineage, and the lineage heals up on you. So they can actually, from the other side, heal up on a lot of heavy stuff they have placed on earth because you're ready. And then they can take, it's like they can take responsibility and they can manage to go into the physical realm and do the job instead of being born again.
So it's almost like what I would call almost karma, right? Clearing the karma, because karma is not punishment. It's experiencing, what you've created or what you've caused to other people, right? For you to experience and learn from it. You just gave me the answer, I think, to even what I just shared on here today. Maybe that's why it kept popping up in my life, because I'm here physically, and maybe there is healing that there is healing that needs to happen ancestrally.
Yes.
And I've never done that before.
No. And I've really, when I thought about that, when I said, okay, so I can sense that the total negative psychological energy, trauma energy in the whole lineage is actually being lightened because of the healing work that my client does with itself is also the healing work of the whole lineage, both the past ones, the present ones, and the future ones. And in that way, when you think it even bigger, when you do work like this, it will actually light up the whole humanity because we are connected. We are connected throughout the millions of years. Mm-hmm. And in that way, it's...
You just said future, because I wasn't even thinking future forwards too.
It works backwards and forwards, because we are all affected. As you have said before, our loved ones are around us all the time. And then remember, if our loved ones is a little heavy in the energy, they want to be here and help, but they are a little heavy in the emotional stuff or stuff like that. But think about it. If you are connected with a lot of loved ones that actually are not heavy anymore, then it will help you to be even lighter or more yourself, more in peace with yourself and in contact with your soul. And you can live your life much easier without all those different things. Think about that. For me, it's like so hopeful. I really can sense the future in that. And I can sense how the children, because there are so many really, really spiritually gifted young people and children now. They are coming with so much more than we did come. Okay, we are both used to having gifts and being skilled within this line of work. But the young ones that's here now, they have more. They have more than I have. And
it's like they've come in without the life experience. They've already got the knowledge, the wisdom, and are aware of their gifts at such a young age compared to, say, where you or I or somebody else doing this work. Other thing I want to point out too is we're not unique or special. It's anybody. Like, I've had this conversation a lot as of late too, because you get people saying, well, I keep being told I'm a healer. I'm not a nurse. I'm not an energy worker. And Spirit showed me this. And I could be wrong, but it feels very right, that I believe anyone through their own actions, words, thoughts, emotions that does something to help in service of others, whether it's to raise their level of joy, whether it's from a place of love, those positive emotions, but you've basically made their life better. Even if it's not coming from ego, it's coming from a place of service to others, and you're coming from a place of high. I think emotion is one of them, or love is one of the most powerful emotions. That's so, like you said, maybe somebody who's excellent at numbers is helping somebody else, say, with their taxes, and they could never find that, or somebody that is able to paint or sing or whatever it is that you do, that you share with others and you leave them in a better state than when you met them. That is healing to me.
Yes, it is. I really, really, really agree with that. Really. And
we all have the ability to do this. I think
we have. And what's, I think, is really important to understand is
not what you do. That's you, and that's your gift, this epigenetic healing. I think that's really powerful. You're the first person I've talked to that does this line of work. Yet I think it's very important, right? We can all leave, even whether it's ourselves or somebody else, with our interactions, our actions, random acts of kindness, whatever that is. And to me, that's healing. If
Yes.
somebody's at a certain level, and whether they know that you did something for them or not, but you're coming from a good place.
When
And
you,
it helps
yeah.
somebody else, that's healing. Like random acts of kindness. We don't need to tell the whole world about it. It's a really big gift to yourself to do that and see that smile on someone else's face,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's right.
Solely left a comment. She said, so true, Marzcia. Why are they drinking is the answer? She said, Lorilei, what you said about the lineage from both parents touched me, because it's the same in my family with both of my parents and their parents and so on. Marzcia is right. Hang on, I go a little higher here, about that. Often these people, like my parents, who both abused alcohol and medicine, subscription drugs, etc., are very sensitive and good-hearted people. And both my parents also had some psychic abilities, as my grandmother from my mother's side. So what you guys are saying, it touches my heart and my soul, because that's what I've told so many I've met in my life. When they ask me, how can you be so forgiving and so understanding when it comes to your parents, when they've hurt you so much during your childhood? And then the last part they've added is because they are good, loving souls that just have been so hurt themselves. They did what they did because of their trauma and loss, and they did the best they could. With that being said as well, I really believe we are here to play a role, that we are here to play a role, to interact with certain people, to be in a family, whatever that may be. So without getting into too much detail, I found out something very negative that happened to me as a young child that should never happen to children. It was much easier to process with the fact that this is the role that they played in this lifetime. And yes, this was done to me, but I have the choice what I do with that. And I choose to heal it. I'm not going to forgive the act, but I'm going to forgive the person, because we are all connected. And when we're back at, I call it back home, they aren't that person that they were playing here. This was the role they were playing. And again, there could be many reasons why this happened, but it's what I choose to do with that experience. My choice is to heal it, to release it, right? I'm not a victim, and to move on further to heal it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And also what you use it for, because some of the actions that we experience in our life also give us the learning of maybe that shouldn't be done to anybody, or the deeper insight about what actually happens within people's mind, or the feelings. So it has maybe been a keystone in your development into the person that you are today. And in that way, many times when we look at our past and look at how we are today, we can also see you wouldn't have been the one person that you are today. You haven't been through the development and the thoughts about what's important in your life if you haven't had that past with you. So in that way, our past is also a part of what we have been developing to. But it's true that our free will and the feeling of, I mean, in my life, it has been really important for me to choose, to always try to choose light and love. Because I have lots of really dark spots. So if I was in that dark spot, it would be...
Here in the audience, we got to give him a shout out. He brought
so
us
nice
together. Gavin, this is what your third time on here, Marzcia. Gavin Lee says, great interview with amazing people. Gavin is the publisher of your book. And
so it's
Gavin, we always give him a shout out. So thank you, Gavin, for popping in.
so nice. Thank you very much. Yeah, Gavin, nice to see you here. But so the thing is that you could be in this dark spot, but you could also work yourself out of darkness and into the light. It's so much easier to look at the dark when you're in the light. It's so difficult to see light when you're in the dark. So in that way, you should not see your dark. You should work with it. You shouldn't be afraid of it, but work with it, because our soul is light. Our soul is happiness. Our soul is clarity. Our soul is full of life, energy, and divine. So when you go in that direction, it also has the healing power to heal the darkness within you.
That's the shadow, right? And
Yeah.
looking at that, and then I love, because the way spirit works with me a lot of times is they also like to give me usually analogies, or it's almost like a little movie playing. And what they've given to me in the past is, say you're in a dark room and it's so dark you can't see your hand in front of your face, but you happen to have a package of matches and you light one match, how far one little spark of light can go. But also, I love what you said about whether you call it the shadow or the darkness, going there, delving into it. There's so many things you can go back as, to your inner child, and you be the person you didn't receive or you felt you didn't get as a little kid. The other thing is, there's many lessons, and you said something else that's very powerful a few minutes ago, and it's embracing it all. Because if you hadn't gone through what you had gone through, anybody, and the experiences you've had, who you are in this moment, you wouldn't have the life you have. And some people would say, well, I don't want the life I have. Yes, but everybody has good moments within their life, and life is what you make it, right? And if you do not know what your life is, it takes a lot of courage. It really does. I always say it's very easy to be on the outside looking inward. We can see what the answers are when it pertains to somebody else, but it takes a lot of courage, self-reflection, and wanting that change, to hold that proverbial mirror up to our own faces and to look at it, to look at that shadow. But what can the shadow teach us, or the darkness? Not beat yourself up with it. There's lessons in it. Would you agree?
Yeah, lessons. And also what I really like, I'm educated as a Somatic experience practitioner, the SE from Peter Levine, his methods, and I went to a talk with him many years ago, and he was talking about how trauma also is the opening to spiritual development, and I really find that's right.
Let's talk more about that.
So there's also one thing that I really want to say. For some minutes ago, maybe 20 minutes ago, you said something about that you have changed from your family, so now you don't have the drinking problem. But what you actually have done is you master your sensitivity, and you do what you love to do. And with that love, there is an emotional surplus of energy that helps to actually heal and to heal the trauma, heal emotions that could be stuck. So because you have chosen a life where you do what really feels meaningful for you, and share love and caring for other people, that's your heart. So you have actually used your heart and your soul energy, and because of that, you're connected with your own healing power for self-healing. And to go that way is to follow your light, and that's what actually makes the difference, because the other ones haven't done it.
This is on my pillow, actually, and it's here to remind me every morning, because I use this book all the time with my healing work with clients. But I kept getting a reminder from my guides, don't you think maybe it's time you open it up and turn it inward? So I have been working with, because I know it works, because it works with other people. So it sits here to remind me when I wake up, and I don't have to do it all. It's just little steps every day, doing a little bit. But I hear what you're saying, right? So yes, the sensitivity, I've, if you will, channeled it in a different direction, right?
You have used it, you have mastered it, so you use it as a gift and not as a curse, and that's so important. It's so important. So, but it's a big job to do that mastering, because it means that there's a lot of trauma that you have to heal. There's a lot of negative beliefs that you have to look at. And there's a lot of other people's negative beliefs and patterns. When you are sensitive in that way, you mirror your surroundings. So you get that into your body, your mind, and your cells, and your nervous system in a very young age. to release that, because it's not actually you. Your soul is not that. You are not what you've been affected by your surroundings when you're a child, your environment, and not even the environment that you're in right now. So always remember that you are you and you're your soul. And when you master your sensory system or your skills, you can much easier feel yourself, and then you can say, that's not me, this is me. And when you can do that, you are really, really a good place, because then you can continue. So it's you're so right, it's small small steps all the time, but the small steps creates the big steps. So in that way, we always have, I work with myself all the time, because yes, that's a part of being a channel. If you have the desire to be a channel, you have to work with yourself, because all the time.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. I told you I got a bit of a delay. Sorry, guys. I was just going to say, though, I'm working on my first course that I'm going to be hoping to roll out in hopefully October. And we're working on it one time a week. One of my best friends and I, she's been on the show, Leanne Clark. I call her the Crystal Wizardress, but she's known as the Crystal Architect on Instagram and Facebook. And we have two very unique, different styles in the way that we work with spirit and what have you. But the beauty in it is it's almost like the perfect yin yang that comes together. And you know what? It's embracing it all. It's by the experiences we've gone through. And I often, it's hard to put into words, but if we don't embrace it all, right? Even the bad times, the good times, that people, one of the movies, I never used to like old movies. And I remember I was forced, I'll say, in a good way, to watch It's a Wonderful Life when I was a young teenager. That is one of my favorite movies at Christmas, because I think it really captured the essence of, through a movie, letting the world know that George got to see what the world would be like if he had never been born, right? And people don't realize how many lives and how many people you touch, right? Especially if you're not in a good headspace or embracing it all, because it all adds up to that one moment, like right when you take a look at it all, right? I don't know if I'm putting it into words properly.
Yeah, it is nice. Really good.
It is. And what you choose to do with it, right?
And also what you choose to be connected with. And again, that's the environment thing. So when you really realize that you're so affected by your environment, if it's your parents, if it's school, if it's colleagues, and the environment is toxic for you, you have to decide, would you continue to have this toxic environment, because you know you will get it inside yourself and you will start to make your own toxic environment. Many of us has learned as children and again lineage, we have the toxic environment within ourselves. We have to deal with that, because it's not the meaning that we should be toxic. Our soul is not toxic. Our soul is full of love and healing energy and life force and beauty, and it loves to see beauty and it loves to make a difference. So the toxic environment that we have been affected by, or that we still have within us, we have to deal with that as we would do with every other toxic things. So emotional toxic things, thought in my mind, out with it, because we have to have a beautiful, harmonious, loving place within ourselves, like an ecosystem. We have a lovely forest full of flowers and life within ourselves. And when we have that feeling, we will contribute to the world to create a loving environment full of flowers for the world.
I agree with you. And the realization for myself was, I almost died when I was 32. They couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And I'm going to use myself. It's not about me, but I'm using it as an example I know of. And I started looking at alternative healing, because it all involved, believe it or not, my liver, not do with drinking It was a fertility issue, but very interesting with the alcohol issues.
Exactly.
So I started looking at that, and I believe Spirit gave me this because I was living my life to make my parents happy, even though I was married and had children. And it just was like an aha moment one day. I went, the only thing I can change is me. I can't
Yes.
change them. They're not going to change. They're not going to tell me, or, you really do some inner reflection and you think, why have I been doing this? Well, I was hoping maybe, they would say this, or they would say this, or they would say they were proud, or they would say whatever. And I realized they're not going to change. I have to change. And I have to tell you, at 60 years old, I am healthier than I have ever been. I am happy, and I would not be living the life I am.
That's good.
Other people to do this, but I am telling you, it was just toxic, and you just say, I can't do this anymore, and here we are. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping that the message of what you're trying to explain as well.
Yeah, it is really good.
We only change ourselves. You can't change other people as much as we think we can, or we think they're going to. Change only happens, I believe, with human beings when you make that inner decision that I want something different. Most people better, but I want something different. And until then, it doesn't matter how much someone is loved. It doesn't matter how much you positive, whatever you give them, until that want within self to change, they're not going to change.
No. Normally, I talk about readiness. So when I work with a client or a student or myself, or it's also something I talk about in Your Soul, Your Life, the readiness is important because you have the emotional readiness, you have the mental readiness, the physical readiness. Your soul is always ready. It just wants to live. But if you're not really ready to make the steps or to heal, it will go slow, but there will always be some part of you that's ready. But if all part of you is ready, then the transition would be very fast.
It happens quick.
So it's like your inner readiness is also the driving force for your personal and spiritual development. Mm-hmm. And the readiness comes with, now it's time, or I cannot stand it anymore, or I feel now the urge to do something different. So it's the own inner power that makes the difference. So it's your own. It's not like a will. It's more like
a knowing.
You can. It's time. It's just time.
You just know. Like I said, Spirit gave me that. It was like a moment of clarity. It was this conversation. And me listening, it wasn't said harshly. No, I don't hear voices for anybody listening, but you have that conversation with Spirit within the head. Yeah. And I just listened, and they never once said, cut your parents off or cut anybody else. They asked me the questions that I needed to hear about change, to hear about the right. You just know, it's just that inner knowing that something's got to give, if you will. Yeah. It has to. Can't keep going on that way. Mm-hmm.
And what I feel is really interesting is when one person in a family starts to move, it's also an invitation for the other ones to move.
Right.
Because when you're not, feeding the negative energy or the toxic environment, then there will be less toxic environment, and you will stand a little more clear within yourself. And when they mirror you, they will not mirror the toxic thing. They will mirror your soul, and that could lighten up their own light and start to do their own process. So some will actually follow you in the movement, and some will not. Mm-hmm. Because when you start to come out of something that's locked, and you start to move, then something will be moved.
It'll shift.
People will start to follow that movement. And that's so important. When we do our own work, we invite others to do theirs. And we help them by letting go of the tensions between us. It's like, okay, I heal up the tension. I don't have the tension with me. I go another direction. Yeah. What can they do? they couldn't find somebody else to make the tension or the linking to, or they could actually say, oh, it's new, exciting, and I also want to move on in my life
and it's
better.
peaceful and it feels better.
And in that way, it's so important. And that's also another thing that I learned from Sean Kiahi and in Hawaii. It's the Ho'oponopono.
Birthday to him.
But that's the Ho'oponopono. It's like when you work with yourself, you work with the other one as well. It's like a possibility to change yourself and the world at the same time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's our assignment this life.
But okay, we got another couple minutes only, but okay, so it's funny, I was thinking of Ho'oponopono and you mentioned it, is the fact too, right? And for people that don't understand it, I don't have it written down. I'm sorry, I thank you, I love you. I remember some of the steps to it, but you can use it in all aspects of your life. Could you maybe spend a minute or two explaining to people about it and why it works and how incredible it is?
Yeah, there is a book made that's called Zero Limits.
Okay.
So Zero Limits is also a very good book to introduce Ho'oponopono. And it works with, I love you, I'm sorry, forgive me, thank you. That's the 4 words. And what Sean taught me was, he worked much with God. Mm-hmm. So he was saying it's very important to take responsibility for your own stuff and heal it.
Right.
And then wish the other ones the best and ask God for the healing process. So in that way, he got the healing for himself. He took responsibility for the energy that he may unconsciously or consciously has laid over in the other person that has created the conflict. It could also be ancestors that have made the problem. And in that way, when you heal up your own stuff and you ask God to take care of the other one, then the healing process is so strong. I used it. It was one of the days in Hawaii. And we had a little room and we wake up 8 o'clock in the morning and we was just going around barefoot and really quiet. But the one under us was so annoyed. So there was a little note under our door when we came home. Please don't, smack with the doors and I'm here on holiday. I have to sleep. And we was like, oh, sorry, what can we do? And we went to the reception and said, sorry, we got this note. What can we do? And we went up and made Ho'oponopono and sorry for what we had done. And then the manager came to us and said, we had this rooftop apartment. It's totally new and we like you to move in there. It was
wow
apartment. And that way they solved it. We went to this big apartment with a hot tub and everything, name it, everything was there. And our one under us, he got peace. And we just thank Ho'oponopono and Maui for...
And then you got the space to do what felt good to all of you too.
Totally. We had that for free for 9 days. We were there for 9 days more. And this really, really amazing place was just like, thank you.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm going to read. We never have enough time. So I'm going to be hitting you up in the new year to come back. Because these just like sometimes the fastest 2-hour show I ever do when you come on. Love when you do. Now, Mish said, I would say that meaning, I believe, Ho'oponopono. And she says she used it with EFT or emotional freedom technique when I was dealing with the death of family. Thank you for sharing that. And to anybody that has experienced a loss, I send love, I send healing, and thank you for sharing in the comments. Now, it's scrolling across the bottom of your website, but how can people find you? How can they buy your amazing book? How can they even, because I know you do sessions too still on teaching, do you not? I'm positive you do.
Yeah, I teach, and I'm planning on making online English courses as well. So I'm starting to make courses on Zoom as well. And you can buy my book, Your Soul, Your Life, in Amazon and every online store around. You can also ask your bookstore to have it home. It's there so they can order it home. Some of them maybe have it already. What I also would like to say is that right now I have a giveaway. So if you go into Spiritual Mastery with Marzcia Techau on Facebook, and under the post where I post a giveaway, read your name, and then you will be participating in the giveaway. And it's till the full moon, this big bloody full moon that we have soon. So it's for that day. I will make I will find the winner of the book, and then I will send it. So you can buy it, or you can also enter the giveaway. But there's a lot of epigenetic healing, inner child work. There's a lot of self-healing exercises, a lot of healing meditations that you can use that I have been guiding, recording. So please, if you need to move on, if you feel the urge to move on, it's a good book for helping you with that.
It definitely is. And you guys, we will have Marzcia back on. Every time she comes on, we always have the best conversation.
Yeah, we didn't manage the near-death experiences. I tried, but
next time then.
Next time, yes.
The conversation is going to go and by what people share here. So that's perfectly okay. You guys, please stay tuned. Coming up next, as I've mentioned a few times, is Preston Dennett and Dolly Saffron with The Light Gate right after this at about 10 minutes past the hour. Also, if you ever want to get a hold of me, get a hold of me on facebook.com/The Angel Rock. I do psychic and mediumship readings. I do crystal Reiki, which works with your chakras and your body energy. I also do energetic healing. I also am a spiritual teacher and mentor. Look for my course. We will be advertising it, Leanne and I. And by then, I'm going to go to a domain name so you can actually find me on a website, all one-stop shop. Also have two groups on Facebook, Paranormal University for all things paranormal, the Angel Rocker Tribe on Facebook for all things spiritual. And don't forget to tune in on Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Beneath the Hollow Moon with Carrie Lynn Shellhorn and myself. We will be talking all about werewolves. We love you guys, and ladies, guys, everyone, for being here, whether you're part of the replay. We know you can go anywhere, and we love that you support.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And by the way, when I opened my door to look at the street, I live in the middle of Copenhagen. Just before the show, there was a rickshaw bicycle, and they had really high music, and it was in rhythmics talking to an angel. Just for yes, I have to be with Rock Angel in a minute. So it was all day.
So perfect sign. I got to get rid of this intro. I keep forgetting it. You can add it on to going live. So I get rid of that. So we're heading out, guys. Stay tuned for Dolly.
Yeah, thank you very much.
See ya on Thursday next week. Oh my gosh, I got to check for you guys before I go. Everybody's saying thank you. I had it in my brain. I know I'm going to kick myself because I looked at it before we went live. Hang on. Give me a sec. No, don't say error. Come on. So that'll be September 8th. If it would load. Jeff Belanger's coming on. He's never been on this show before. I've met him personally. He's written many books about the paranormal. He's good friends of my friend Varla. I wasn't even thinking of that. They publish, I think, under the same company, and he's very entertaining. So he will be here next week. Thanks, Marzcia.
Thank you much, everybody. Thank you very much. Love you.
Till the next time. Hang on tight.